So right now I am recording off my phone. I'ma drop, if you haven't seen the other videos yet, they should have already dropped. This video will be dropped right after those. But I landed the job at Wendy's, and the goal was to get a second job so I can have double the income, which means I'm making 4 times the rent in a month, because I'll be getting paid 4 times in a month because of both jobs, or whatever the case is. And I did manage to do just that, but the issue is having the jobs that I do go get work around my schedule. Like, for example, working at a warehouse, it's somewhat easy to have it based around your schedule because they're usually either day shift or second shift, which is night shift, or overnight shift. And usually night shift is going, or second shift is going about around 4 to 12. And then, of course, the other is overnight. So, of course, I cannot do overnight because I have a son. And the issue that I have with having these conversations with people is that I have to manage my situation around my son. And it's very hard for me, especially trying to obtain a job and sustain a job that is based around his schedule. He has to be to school by 7 something, and he has to be picked up by 2:30 something, or whatever the case is, and stuff like that. Or I need to be present for him to be dropped off at a certain time frame, which means I have to get off work at a certain time in order to be present, because that can cause issues as far as legally with, child services and extra stuff like that. And then making sure he get to school on time, I have to be able to get the work around his schedule, so, and be able to get him to school and stuff like that. So, and if that is interfered with, then that's, that begins to cause issues with child services, and you get insurance involved, and it's just like, don't nobody seem to really understand that. And I get tired of re-explaining my situation, because it just be like I'm talking to a fucking brick wall at this point, or whatever the case is. It's just like, I've worked so hard, and it's just like, there's no point of working anymore. The only way to really save myself or my situation is if somebody who could just take care of me and make sure I'm straight for the rest of my life with no questions asked. And that's unrealistic. I have to be able to take care of myself, but sadly that is a hassle. And I know there are many of you who can actually relate, and it's just like, I get so fed up because don't nobody understand, and I'm working hard, and I'm working hard, and you constantly have to deal with people telling you, well, you got to figure it out, or you gonna be okay, or they're constantly simplifying your situation. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, but it's just, if it ain't one thing, it's another. All I've been dealing with is people trying to make it seem like, or insinuate that I don't want to work, or I don't want to work a specific job, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, when that's definitely not the case. I have a son. I have to work around my son. My son comes first at the end of the day, and I'm not finna be that parent who ends up getting a child taken away from them or put in the system because I'm trying to work so hard as a mother, to where that becomes neglectful because I'm doing things to sacrifice my, like, just a whole bunch of shit. And I just be like, that's why I be like, I wish I could just make money in my fucking sleep. I'm super talented, super creative, like a whole bunch of stuff. I got a very big mind. Now I'm nowhere near closed-minded. I don't have a fixed mindset. I have a creative mindset. I've always been that way since I was a child, and my son is the same way. But it's so hard because that stuff requires income. Like, somebody asked me a question, do I think that life is asking too much of me, or asking for too much? I don't feel like life is asking for too much of anything. I think it's very simple. I spoke on how I felt, and then I spoke on my thoughts. So I don't feel like life is asking for too much. I think it's very simple, because at the end of the day, it's just, you got to have funds. What's not so simple is obtaining and grasping those funds for that so simple life that the world is asking for, or for you to pay for, or whatever the case is. Being able to obtain the resources that you need to live a certain life, or live that simple life, is not easy. I went to college thinking that was going to help me, or whatever the case is. And yes, they say, well, depending on what field you went into, this, that, and the third. But there are people who are in STEM fields who still having a hard time. For example, me. I have a STEM degree. I have several. And I've been having a very hard time trying to get lower level jobs. It's hard for me to get a lower level job because it's never based around my son's schedule. Not because of me, but because the companies need me more than, I need them too. But it's like, the way that they need me, I'm not able to give myself. And it sucks because I need them the same way they need me. and it's just not working. Like, for example, Wendy, she said, my supervisor at Wendy, she said that they're not going to be able to work around a schedule as far as it being from 9 to 2 and stuff. They need somebody who can be there a little bit longer, and I already accepted a second job because that was the goal, so I can have twice the income. Because I know for a fact in my current circumstances, if I cannot land a career and I'm just landing a regular job, I'm going to need twice the income, because from one of those jobs, I'm not going to make what I need to get myself stable, fully stable. I'm going to need two. So with those type of jobs, it's always, they're never willing to work around my schedule, which leads me to having to go elsewhere. And I'm tired of it. That's just exactly what it is. I don't know if that make any type of sense to any of you guys or whatever the case is, but that's just what it has been. And I'm tired. I've been working since I was 14. Like, literally, the first moment that I touched some money, it was up for me. Like, I was like, you couldn't tell me nothing. I could take care of my son by myself. I could take care of myself. Woo had him in daycare, was doing it up, kept my hair done, my nails done, made sure he was straight, taking him to his doctor's appointments, buying him clothes, and I still do the same thing. But it's just hard. I don't have a second person to, lift me up on the back end. I got to do everything on my own, and that shit is tiresome, bro. And I don't regret my son. I love him to death, and none of this is his fault. And I always try to remind him that this is none of his responsibility. This is nothing for him to worry about, and he should try to stay a child as much as he possibly can. Not to say to enable him to stay a child forever, but to, be able to still be a kid as long as he can. And that's just what it's been. And I'm just exhausted, like, crying. I don't think I can actually cry anymore. I don't know how to fucking feel. I was really getting hungry. I was like, fuck this shit. They think they're going to take everything away from me. They think I'm a just give it all away. They think that I'm just going to sit here and deal with this. No, I said, fuck that shit. Okay. If I got to go on a different route than what I'm used to or what I've already experienced and told myself I wasn't going to go back to, then cool. I'm going to do it a certain type of way. I'm not going to do it how I did it before. I'm going to do it differently. Get 2 jobs. That's what I did. And now it's something that's a delay in the first job. So it's just like, it doesn't really help. And it's like, I can't speak on it because some people be like, oh, well, you don't want to accept any job if it's not a certain type of pay. It just sounds like you don't want to get no money. And it's like, you don't know me, because before I got to the level that I've got to, before I got to the level that I have gotten to, I was that person. I'll accept any fucking job to get it out the mud because I need money at the end of the day. But when you realize your responsibilities and what they require from you, you begin to enhance the information that you have, and you begin to acknowledge that you need more. In life, you're going to always need more of something. You ain't going to never be content with shit, which requires work. It's not because you necessarily want more. It's the fact that life is asking more of you. And to get that, that's what you're going to have to do. I don't know if that even makes sense. I feel like I'm talking all over the place, but being one person, taking care of a child by myself, and having to make income, and it's not working around his schedule, is hard for me. And I think a lot of other people can actually relate as well, especially if you don't have the other person, on your team and stuff. And I'm not the type of individual to just go on dates and date anybody for the sake of needing a second person for my child or whatever the case is and stuff like that, because I don't want to be introducing him to this and that person. Everybody ain't meant to be around your kids. So I don't know where life is taking me. I start this other job this week on the 30th. Orientation is on the 30th, and then I start the actual job on the 1st. My supervisor has not set up a schedule for me yet because she said that they cannot accept my schedule from 9 to 2. That's not a schedule. When I think about it, I'm like, back in the day when I was working as a teenager, that was a schedule. It's called part-time. So that's a 6-hour schedule. But this is just what it is. I don't know what else to tell y'all. Peace.